Weedline diving can be one of the more exciting forms of spearfishing in New Zealand. Now most of the weedline diving that we do is at the outer islands. And on the coast, anywhere that's exposed to a northerly or an easterly sea, the weed edges don't tend to work as well as weed edges that are sheltered, so on the inside of an island or on a sort of a leeward side of a point. Now if you're working these weed edges, I quite like a gun with a reel on it. It means I can disconnect from my float and I can lie still on the bottom without my float line jiggling behind me. Fish, believe it or not, don't like a moving line. If you can stay static on the bottom without any movement, that's quite good. So you need a gun with a really good reel. This is a Wettie hybrid carbon gun set up with a really good reel. This is the sort of system I use. So it means I can anchor my float and float line off to the side and I can dive safely around it without boats running me over and things like that. And it also means I've got somewhere to put my fish on when I get it. So I dive to the bottom, lie dead still on the bottom and wait and see if the Tarakihi come in or if there's a boarfish parked up somewhere, something like that. But if you're new to the sport, I would suggest that you keep diving with your float and float line attached to your gun in case you get in any trouble. If you've got to bail and drop your gun, you want to be able to do that successfully, and by having a float and float line you can do that and you don't have to worry about losing your gun. But really good setup is a very good reel on your gun that you can rely on. You don't want a reel that could jam easily and things like that. So quite a different set of skills when you're working weed edges. This sort of gear, don't swim fast, don't make jerky movements, check every nice bit of weedy spot, you know, that looks good with a lot of bait fish. Often there could be John Dory sitting there, you're looking for those because John Dory are the masters of camouflage. They sit really still on weed edges and they're quite hard to spot. John Dory, Tarakihi, Kingfish, boarfish, sometimes snapper. You can be lucky enough to ambush one in the weed that parks up when it sees you coming down and hides. But there's some great species to be had on the weed, but make sure your gear's right. Don't overdo it, don't dive, don't dive too long, don't push your limits on weed edges. It's easy to do there sometimes. Fish can come in when you're right at the end of your breath. It's better to go up and come back down and have another crack. Often weedline fish will stay in the area, they won't move away. Go up, dive safe, you know, get a decent breath, come down and have another crack later on.